All right, hello everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the final session of our National Right for Rights Marathon. My name is Ketty Nivyabandi. I am the Secretary General for Amnesty International Canada's English section. Very happy to be joining you, and I'm joining you from unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. In Ottawa, where our offices are headquartered. And I live here with deep gratitude and respect for the land, for its people, for its history as well, the history of oppression and colonization, and with a profound commitment to constant learning, undoing, and to support the decolonization efforts that are ongoing, not only in Canada, but across the globe. So with that, I really just wanted to welcome you really warmly to this event. It's been a long but fun and important day. So as you all know, obviously today we're celebrating International Human Rights Day on December 10th, and the adoption of the Universal Declaration for Human Rights, but we're also celebrating 20 years of Right for Rights. What started as a small 24-hour letter writing marathon in Poland in 2001 has grown into the world's largest human rights event. So from 2,326 letters back then, 20 years ago, to 4.5 million actions and growing today. Right for Rights truly has the power to transform lives. So I am thrilled to be joined by two fascinating activists and Amnesty activists, Rojina Haji-Mahmoodzadeh, a national organizer for Amnesty based in Coquitlam, and Gord Barnes, a longtime Amnesty activist and field worker based in Rojina. Welcome, Rojina and Gord. A warm welcome to both of you. And we're going to talk to you both about what inspires you to be part of Right for Rights, to be part of the Amnesty movement. Before we get there, let us first take a look back at the past 20 years with a slideshow, a video. So we'll do that, and then we'll reconvene in a few minutes and start our conversation. Oh, what a beautiful and moving visual. Such a piece of history there. Thank you so much, Irina, for the work in pulling that together. That's so beautiful to watch. People gathered around kitchen tables, obviously at our offices, in cafes, and just united by this desire to make a change and to impact someone's life, and in solidarity. That's beautiful to watch. I was looking back and thinking of you, Regina. I mean, you were not. I didn't see you on any of those photos. So I wanted to find out, when did you start? We can start with you, perhaps. When did you start getting involved with Amnesty International and with Right for Rights?
Hi, I'm joining you from the Kwiketlam, Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam, unceded and shared territories. So I unofficially became involved with Amnesty and I heard a lot about Amnesty on me, and I always wondered like what the organization is and what they do. So when we moved to Canada, turn off my camera, I apologize. So yeah, when we came to Canada, I was starting to become interested in activism and kind of find out my passion for it. And one day in February, I heard my friends talking about Amnesty. So I went home after school and I went on the website, read a little bit about the organization. And luckily, it was a time that Amnesty was recruiting national organizers. And I applied and I officially became involved with Amnesty. And ever since, I've had the opportunity to organize a COVID-19 vaccine equity letter writing campaign with other national organizers. I've started my school's Amnesty group, and I'm working on a podcast on human rights abuses. And we did a episode on women's rights in Afghanistan last week. And this year, I'm hosting and organizing my school's very first Right for Rights event. And yeah.
That's so incredible to hear, Rojina, and perhaps this is where we should have started. For people who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself? You talked about school, like what grade are you in? What are your interests? Just so people get a sense of who you are.
Sure. So I grew up in Iran, and we moved to Canada 2 years ago. And right now I'm in grade 12 of law and activism, and also science and especially biochemistry. So I'm hoping to get involved with medical law and related fields. And yeah, that's about me a little bit.
Okay, you're all round incredible, because I don't know many many people who are your age and in your grade who are doing all the things that you're doing. So you're just fabulous all round. Gord, let's talk
Thank
to
you.
you a little bit. You're so welcome. Gord, you've been with Amnesty for much longer, but I'm curious to hear how that journey started for you, how you started really getting involved with the movement and with Right for Rights.
Well, thank you, Ketty, and I'd like to begin by saying this is an incredible honor to be part of this event today, along with you, Ketty, and Rojina. I'd like, as you've done already, to acknowledge that I've been here in Treaty 4 territory in Regina, Saskatchewan. Treaty 4 territory is the land of the Cree, the Saulteaux, the Assiniboine, Dakota, Lakota, and also the homeland of the Métis Nation. I, as you've noted, have been involved with Amnesty International for quite a few years now. my early days, were at the time when many people were coming as refugees from Vietnam, and also many people coming to Canada who were exiled from Chile. They weren't seeking to leave Chile particularly as refugees, but they were forcibly removed, and the situation at the time was just terrible with the Pinochet regime in Chile. There was many opportunities to support both the Vietnamese people and Chilean people in Saskatchewan here, and people reached out and tried to do that. Those were my early days. I also got very involved in the campaign, the coalition of Amnesty and social justice groups in the faith community when there was a debate about bringing back the death penalty in Canada. Fortunately, that campaign was to stop the death penalty being returned to Canada was successful, and it was a solid vote in the House of Commons. So those are some of my early days.
Mm-hmm. I wondered what year are you talking about for what you just mentioned around the death penalty?
Well, a couple different time frames. For those, the first years would have been kind of 1975, 76 years. I got more involved, obviously, around the time of the discussion about bringing back the death penalty, which was later on. But that, somebody reached out to me at that point and said to me, I see you're active in speaking out about that particular issue, and would you like to become an Amnesty International Canada field worker? And I didn't even know there was an opportunity to do that, and I had an opportunity to go through some really wonderful training with many great friends. Some of them were on those slides that you showed. So this was a special opportunity to see a lot of friends online in the slideshow, which was wonderful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What have you found within the movement that has kept you all these years? So we're talking the 70s, we're now in 2021. We're looking back at almost 40 years, really. 70s is when I was born. So that's about 40 years. What have you found in the movement and in this action as well of Right for Rights, which started 20 years ago, that has fulfilled you so much, and you have stayed all these years?
I think it's a few different things. One is a sense of solidarity of the people who I've met over the years and who, we've become very good friends. Another thing that's kept me inspired, frankly, is the amazing young people who are coming to the movement on a continuous basis. And I mean that quite sincerely. I'm inspired by their creativity, their energy, and that's another reason I've continued to be involved. And I guess finally, I would say, in terms of the reason I've stayed is, the injustices are not going away. They continue to be a major concern for all of us. And on the one hand, we want to celebrate on Human Rights Day, and we want to, recognize the successes. I'm not being critical of the media, but the media comes to us and says, how many of those cases that you worked on last year were we successful with? And always a tough question to answer. We do answer those questions and we celebrate the successes. But at the same time, I'm thinking, why don't you ask us about the people that we haven't been successful in helping, and that give us an opportunity to share their stories again, because we don't give up on those campaigns. We never give up on those campaigns. If we wrote letters on behalf of somebody 2 or 3 years ago and they have not been released or their circumstances have not improved, we don't drop it. You know, we don't say we're never going to reach out and stop calling for the release of Raif Badawi. We continue to do that, or other prisoners of conscience. So I guess from my perspective, there's a mix of feelings on a day like this, and those are the reasons, I guess, to summarize why I've continued to be involved all those years.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Rojina? What is it that that inspires you and fuels you? You're starting the first Right for Rights event at your school. What inspires you to take part in this action and to encourage others to join?
So kind of going back to me growing up, I would say I was a very aware child. Like my parents used to follow the news, and I would like hear these horrible stories of people around the world getting their rights taken away from them. And I always wanted to do something about it, but I unfortunately didn't have the opportunity and the resources to do so. So now here with Amnesty and Right for Rights, I finally have a way to take action and stop this process from happening over and over and over again to different people. And also at my school, we don't have like a platform and resources for people to take action and become informed on social issues. Like we don't have a social justice course or a social justice club until recently. So I wanted Right for Rights to be a way for students to take action on these issues and kind of get the students united to do something and make change and participation.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I wonder, looking at the cases where we have this year, the 10 cases we have, is there one in particular that speaks to you, one that you know, that you feel yourself gravitating towards and that you're speaking to more and with your friends? What's the case that you're bringing, you know, at the discussion table, at the dinner table with your parents, at home, the one that you're talking to your friends about the most?
So the case that particularly speaks to me is Jenna Jihad's case. She's a teenager just like me in occupied Palestine, and she like has hopes and dreams and ambitions just like a normal teenager should have. But the thing is that her hopes are for like she wants to have a normal life, to know what freedom and peace and justice feels like. And a teenager shouldn't wish for this. They should like already have this. A teenager should wish for what they're going to be and what they want to do with their life in the future. And personally, as a teenager myself, I want to protect her and to help her, and not just her, but like everyone in occupied Palestine who is exposed to the brutality of Israeli forces. And yeah, her case really speaks to me, especially when she says that like all she wants is to know what freedom feels like. And it's really heartbreaking.
It really is. And I guess you can identify so much with her, right? Because it is, as you just said, you can imagine the things that she would be longing for, the things that she should be having on her mind. I think about her a lot as well, because my daughter is the same age, and I'm just thinking that, you know, it's just so heartbreaking to see that, to see the things that are occupying her mind at this young age. What about you, Gord? What's the case that speaks to you the most this year?
Well, I want to say that, first of all, I'm almost finished writing appeals or letters on all 10, and I'm really feel that's very important to do. There's one that sort of speaks to me, and that is the case of Siham Ali. And for the people who have read through the case action, you know, you may have a sense that this is hopeless, that she was taken away when she tried to cross the border into Sudan with her family many years ago now, 8 years ago. And you know, it was a young person, and nobody really has heard what's going on. But I know communities have continued to campaign on her behalf. And just relating, you know, it sounds such like a desperate situation. And really, is Amnesty serious about the potential for any change for her circumstance? I would answer that by just telling you a short story in our Regina group history. And that is that we were asked many, many years ago to support the Aufker family, who were imprisoned in Morocco, and not a dissimilar circumstance. What happened was the father, General Aufker, was accused of a coup attempt against the King of Morocco. And the next day, he died, he was assassinated, and they arrested the entire family. There was six young people at the time, and we helped many years before there's this success. We wrote letters, and again, you know, Amnesty stresses that we're not always responsible for the people being released. In this case, the young people actually, you know, who had grown up in jail, we like to think that our appeals on their behalf meant that worse things didn't happen to them. They actually managed to tunnel out with their own hands and escape. And the Malika Aufker has written a book about it. It's been widely published, called Stolen Lives. Her brother, her much younger brother, Abdel Aufker, was the one we wrote appeals for in Regina for years. And he was in prison from the age 3. So, you know, I read now this case regarding Siham Ali, and I think, you know, there's a lot of similarities there in terms of the circumstances, and we've got to continue to campaign on her behalf.
And what you're saying is that no case is beyond hope, and we cannot afford to lose hope for any of these cases.
That's right.
I mean, it's so timely and so right. Earlier today, we had a chat with, I'll tell you more about that, about Germain Rukuki, who was just in jail last year, serving a 32-year sentence. So he still had, had been in jail for 4 years, so he still had 28 years ahead of him. Very unlikely that he would be released, and yet he was released this year. So I think your message about perseverance, even when it seems, you know, impossible to do so, is really crucial and really important. I wonder, when you first took part in Right for Rights, what was it like, and how has it changed over the years, over the past 20 years?
You know, the early years of Right for Rights, we were able to gather in person. It was a shift from when we were doing things outside. Prior to Right for Rights, we would just gather at sundown in the middle of the winter, December 10th, and take turns being in the middle of the city in a park in very cold weather till sunrise the next day. That's how we marked International Human Rights Day. And you know, that that actually meant that we got some media. It was every year the media would show up at sunrise and get a picture and do an interview, which was great. We could talk about our casework at that time. But we didn't, through the process of doing that, send appeals in a significant way at the event, you know, because you're outside and it could have been 30 below weather all night. We were taking turns. We had a warm-up room in a local hotel.
Wow, you were outside the entire night?
Well, we took turns.
In December?
It took turns. But
incredible.
You know, there were ways to say warm, like we might have had a soccer ball out there in the snow. But anyway, I digress. I think the evolution to Right for Rights that happened 20 years ago that you've referenced, Ketty, was a really important direction to go for the movement. And I've obviously in that period grown our capacity to attract people to the movement, and also encourage people to support it by writing more letters and sending more appeals and using social media to do so. And that's very exciting to me that we've made that progress. I guess during the same time, we have seen within Canada and the Canadian section for Amnesty International, more people who have an interest in joining us, who have come from other countries, who have different backgrounds. Earlier this week, when we in Rojina had our online writing event, we went into breakout rooms, and one breakout room, people were writing letters in Arabic, the appeals for where it was appropriate. Another breakout room in Spanish. So that, you know, that's encouraging to me that we're able to grow that way. And I'm hopeful that you know, we'll see more of that in the next few years.
Yes, a lot of change there. Rojina, what about you? What does it look like? You're not staying up all night outside, right? With your with your friends.
No, it's too cold and rainy here in Coquitlam.
So what does it look like? What does the Right for Right look like for you?
So this year, I wanted Right for Rights to happen at our school's gym with like students from all grades coming in. And like, I wanted to be 1 hour long and everyone like coming out of their classroom to focus on Right for Rights, and possibly maybe a speaker and like a lot of hype around it, a lot of promotion. But unfortunately, because of COVID, we're not able to do that. It's going to be like a small booth in the foyer at our school during lunch block. And we can't have like large gatherings, so we can't have like as many people as we could have been able to have if we were able to host it in the gym. But looking at the bright side, it's really nice to see like students kind of uniting with each other to like work towards the same cause and to work towards change in society. And I really hope for Right for Rights to become kind of a legacy at my school, and that future students will continue with it, because I'm in grade 12 and I will be graduating next year. And hopefully in the upcoming years, when the pandemic is over, they will be able to host it in the gym with all of the students there, all of the teachers, and an hour long with everyone writing letters. Yeah.
That is brilliant. So that's your legacy right there. That's incredible. You can say that you've made a change, structural change actually at your school. That's powerful. You know, I could talk to you all evening, but we'll have to slowly begin to wrap up, as we gave people a set time. But before we do, I wanted to ask you both, what is the one thing that you would want to ask the other? So Gord, what is the one thing you would want to ask Rojina? And Rojina, what would you want to ask Gord?
Well, I would say, Rojina, I'm really impressed and excited to meet you for the very first time tonight. And I would ask if you or anybody else who's listening in ever has any questions about where you might want to go within Amnesty and what you might want to do. First of all, please feel free to reach out to me. But I'd be interested to know, Rojina, what your personal thoughts are about the future of our movement.
So I've been involved with Amnesty for like 10 months, and over these 10 months, I've seen so many events and so many campaigns and so many people my age doing things that are very impressive. Like at my school, I have friends who didn't even know what Amnesty was, and now they've become involved with like the Amnesty group at our school, and they're working like on the podcast. And I think like every year more and more people are getting involved with Amnesty and its campaigns, and it's incredible because this is like how our world changes, and I think it's beautiful to see like so many people coming together to change and better our society. And so Gord, I was wondering, with your with your experience, do you have any advice for a young person like me in their journey in activism and a future career concerning activism?
I'd like to think that the best advice I can give anybody is to, stick together. Like, there's always lots of interesting conversations within the movement, and we debate things at times, like at our annual meetings and other occasions, what our mandate and where we're going to go. But I guess the most important thing to me is when I go home, let's continue to work on the key mandate issues that we've agreed to. I'm excited to see the growth of the movement, and in concluding, I would say let's stick together and continue the work.
Thank you.
Oh, that is such a beautiful way to close. And I love the intergenerational conversation. And I think we should have more of these, certainly a lot more. You have a lot to offer to each other. You, Gord, offering a lot of advice, guidance to the younger generation. And the younger generation has so much to offer, so much thought, and especially about the future of the movement. And so that is that's powerful. And so thank you so much to you both. I feel very energized by this conversation, by both the history and the future that you both represent, and it's a true pleasure to be spending the time with you. So thank you for all your incredible work and dedication to human rights, and thank you to everyone really who's been joining us throughout the day for Human Rights Day, for Right for Rights. I want to thank each one of you who works to make this happen every day, every one of you who challenges norms, who pushes for more justice, more equity in our world daily with your daily actions. Thank you. Remember to keep writing your letters and to keep reporting. You can take part in the campaign until January 31st. 2022, and we need to make sure that we send out more letters than we have ever in the past, right? So make sure you go to Write-a-thon, that you do what you have to do, organize. And of course, we're in the post-COVID, we're slowly coming out of the COVID time. So this is a great opportunity also to bring, to rebuild our community spirit, to come together. It's a wonderful way to socialize and to make an impact at the same time. So I'm incredibly grateful to all of you. I wish you a wonderful and a very, very, very happy International Human Rights Day, and keep on standing, keep on shining, and we hope to talk to you and see you soon. Take care. Thank you, Rojina. Thank you, Gord.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ketty.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to the entire team, that the Right for Rights team that has made this happen. Thank you.